Okay. Well, what benefits and hurdles do you find to being a minority public relations practitioner?
Wow. I have a lot of benefits and hurdles. Um, some of them are general as to being a woman business owner. Some of them are just specific to minority women. We're in a really interesting stage, and when you sent me this question, I knew I was going to be asked, so I was thinking a lot about it. What's very interesting for me, unlike a lot of minority friends that I have that have PR firms, I've actually built my business dealing with a lot of Caucasians. Because I was great at relationship management and in the finance world, I just kind of used those relationships to say what I was doing and let them know about the PR firm and so forth, where I was told by Robin Beeman, of course, that you don't want to be labeled as minority only. And there are so many minority, when you're African American women, you almost have to prospect Caucasian business more and get that business first before you take a minority contract. Because if not, they will only label you and say, oh, you just deal with minorities. And yes, there are certain things in a minority marketplace where someone wants to go after a niche market, but there are certain things that are just human beings. Whereas a Caucasian person doesn't have that as a hurdle. They don't have the fact that they have to watch who they take in their client mix. And because they don't have to worry about the typecasting that comes along with that. And so I find as a minority woman that there are certain things that I always have to make sure I have a good client mix and client demographics, whereas a Caucasian woman they can just take the business and they don't have to worry about being typecast because of their color, that the only business they do is when you have minority outreach. So I think that's the number one hurdle, and it's something I'm always thinking about when I'm looking at my book of business. The great thing about being a minority woman, though, I find that in the last year to 2 years, I've been very courted by or very attractive to international firms that want a U.S. presence. So I think for the first time, maybe being a minority at the front of the company is maybe being seen as a positive. So like I said, it's just a very interesting time that you're doing this interview, and it'd be great maybe to look at doing it even 3 or 5 years from now, right, because the world is just in such a fast change mode. I've never seen so many changes like this just overnight.
Right. That's a good idea. So maybe someone will get in touch with you in about
Absolutely.
5 years. Right.
No, just in general.
Okay. Have you ever had a client ask you to do something that made you uncomfortable? You felt it might be somewhat unethical. Has that ever happened?
I've had clients make me feel uncomfortable, which is all the time. No, not all the time, but a lot of times clients can make you feel uncomfortable. Thank God I have not had a client ask me to do anything unethical. I've had clients who make me feel uncomfortable when I question them, but I say a journalist is going to question you, so I have to start. This is just a part of the process. But thank God I have not had that, in my business yet.
I'm going to ask you something, a personal kind of story, if you can think of something that you might want to share. What was the greatest challenge in your professional life?
My greatest challenge is, and I guess, you're going to get into the personal, because I believe whenever you have a challenge, it's in order to overcome it professionally, you have to overcome it even personally. It may bring up certain things within yourself, and goes back to the kind of do-it-all attitude. I'm a business owner. I have 5 employees. I have 4 contractors who are always looking for work when my employees aren't you know, when they're all packed up and inundated. And I have a lot of people asking me for stuff. I also am a single mother in New York City, so I have to run my home life and I have to run my business life. And I have a teenage daughter who's 13. And I have to also at this time steer and run her life, not in a mommy dearest kind of way, but steer it in the right high school, the right social activities. So there's 3 different components of trying to run things and provide for people. And I always feel like, oh gosh, I have a lot of people just kind of hanging off me, you know. And I know that when I take on that role, but I think a lot of people, when they decide to be an entrepreneur, really don't realize the weight when you carry people. Because my team, they're just like children. Sometimes they give me more headaches than my own child with the bickering and the whatever. And she said this, and it's arguing by email now. And after a while, I'm like, get on the phone and just yell at each other for 10 minutes. But don't CC me on a bunch of chain mails, because I got 10 other emails I need to look at, and I don't want to read your drama because it goes on for a day and a half. Just hash it out by phone, call her if you don't like her, and get it over with, but don't keep going by email for a certain point. And I just got all these different components. Then I got my daughter's emotions and so forth, and just being a single parent, and she's in her teenage years, and trying to make that time to do it all in my professional life and do it the right way, do it the best integrity that I can operate in, because I think we all have lapses in integrity, from saying, oh, I'm not home, to whatever. Being ethical and being someone that, not just my clients, but someone that my daughter looks up to. And that may be 2 different people. Your clients look at this and what you have on and how you carry yourself and how hard you work. You know, your daughter may just look at how you just simply can laugh at her silly jokes. And so juggling all of that, and then figuring out and thinking about, okay, my client's media campaign, but also my daughter's future. So that is the number 1 hands down challenge. And sometimes making that call when work is not that important, my daughter, and then the client's upset, and the juggling all those balls and wanting to be good at all of them. Why? Because I get a personal satisfaction from my professional life, but I also get satisfaction from my daughter. And then because she helps me not take my professional life too seriously, actually. That's kind of like why I like the humor. But then I look at the aspect of my daughter and how do I juggle my personal and private life? I mean, my personal and professional life. That's my biggest struggle all the time.
Well, you have a very full plate.
We all do, though.
Yes.
It's not just me. We all have that as a challenge, and I just think we need to stop expecting people to be perfect. I also think we need to give people the real 24 hours. I think with email, we've almost get back like, I texted her 2 hours ago. And I even have to catch myself in doing that. Like, sometimes people busy, you know? And so I think that whole aspect of humanizing, yes, utilizing technology to be efficient and do great business, but at the same token, realizing that it's humans that power everything, and there's going to be a lot of mistakes.
Right, right. Well, we could look at the other end of the continuum on that, rather than your challenges.
Mm-hmm.
What accomplishment are you most proud of, and why?
Wow. And we're just talking professionally.
Well, this will go on the...
I guess this will go both, because I think with an entrepreneur, it's really tough to not be personal about your business. And every entrepreneur I talk to, whether it be especially public relations people, we really have to be passionate about what we're doing in order to take a client in a media campaign. I find that I've worked better off of passion than I have off of money. When I found something that I really liked in a client that I was really interested in, as opposed to a client that paid me more money. It's just one of those things. So I think the greatest accomplishment I've had is that I've been able to duplicate the good parts in other people, and then teach people how to duplicate the good parts of me, and then take out the bad parts of me. And I'm starting to see a staff, even interns, that have moved on and I'm still in touch with, take pieces of what I've done and do it better. And I think when you can see a good duplication model or yourself duplicated in others, that's a great accomplishment. Because, you know, it can help fuel your passion when it's all burnt out and you're tired. So I think that's a great accomplishment. I honestly think the fact that I'm able to employ people and feed my daughter and take care of her and send her to prep school and actually laugh and have fun and run a business and live in New York City, which is a very difficult city, I consider, and I'm not homeless, I actually consider that the best accomplishment ever, that as a woman and as a minority woman, that not only am I able to take care of myself, but I'm also taking care of others. And I guess I really hate the stories when you see, oh, they're on welfare, or, you know, the disparity in the comments, more particularly towards black women having children, not taking care of them, being on welfare. That's not the reality or my world. So I kind of, not that I live my life to dispel the myth, but I kind of like pat myself on the back and say, look, I'm dispelling the myth. And why don't you take a, you know, why don't people take a look into my friends and my world? Because it's not a stereotype. And it's so many others that are just not stereotypes, including Inez Kaiser, which I knew nothing about until I got this write-up. And I was so fascinated because you do not hear about back, I don't remember what year it was, but
It was in the, I don't really
just
know
some
that.
time ago. I mean, she's the
Yeah.
first African-American woman to start a
Right.
public relations firm. And, you know, I look at Robin Beeman, who I looked up to, who I still look up to, who after she left Oprah has her own firm and she has some great accounts. When I look up to so many of those before me, I go, wow, it can be done. And you can do it and not be stereotyped and typecast as a, oh, you just handle people when they want to do minority outreach. I mean, Inez Kaiser, people like Robin or whoever handle other mainstream accounts. And I think that that's a powerful message in that. And I think that I'm really proud to be a part of that story and have my firm as a part of Inez's legacy.
Excellent.